we want to talk about who's got the tropical vacation that's pending 2 or 3 weeks. Yes,
Going to Palm Springs, California.
I'll take it. Yep, in 2 to 3 weeks.
Tuesday.
Okay. Anybody else more toward Florida or beyond in 2 to 3 weeks?
I'm going to,
Okay, there's too many people talking, so raise hands. Yes,
I'm going to Panama City, Florida in 2 weeks.
let me work with you, please. Okay. I'm being told you are overdue for some time away. Do you understand?
I'll take that. I'll take that.
They're showing me a lot of static around your head, and that's my symbol for someone who has been very distracted of late and has had a lot on their plate. Do you understand that? So you've
I
been
do.
pulled in many different directions.
Yes.
Do you understand that? Had Father been in the military?
Yes.
Thank you. I feel as though I may have a father figure stepping forward. He's very dominant, I'm being told to say, very strong personality, but a lot of people know him. Do you understand?
Okay. He was a very quiet man.
If he were to step outside his home, it feels as though he's well known in the community, or a lot of people know him. Show me the VFW, so I don't know if he had a connection to the VFW, hung out there.
He was a member, yes.
Thank you, okay. So he's fiercely defensive and protective of you. He says depression runs in our family. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And he says that, you can't be little Miss Fix-It to everybody.
Oh, golly gee.
Makes sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. He says you hemorrhage too much of your good energy racing around putting out fires for people. Do you understand?
Yes.
Who are you here with here?
I'm with my cousin and her daughter.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to chime in, please, if this is making sense. Thank you. Okay. He's also talking about, did he have a pin, a military pin with wings on it that you're aware of? He's talking about a pin that would have been on his uniform.
I don't remember
And
when.
he's also thanking you for keeping his portrait sitting out.
It is.
So there's a portrait of him in military attire, correct?
Correct.
That you have sitting out.
Well, it was. It's not right now.
Well, he's making reference to that portrait. He says, he says, thank you for thinking of me on Father's Day. Do you understand? So I don't know what he means by that. Is there something special or significant that you did to honor him on Father's Day?
I talked to him a lot.
On Father's Day. He's
Yes.
talking about Father's Day specifically. Thank you. And he says I'm the one who was tipping the picture.
Tipping the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Tipping the picture. I'm not quite sure I understand that.
Okay. So was it on the wall or was it
It's
framed,
sitting.
out?
Sitting.
So he would have
Okay.
moved it.
Moved it, all right.
Do you remember that happening? You're walking the room and it's in a different
Yes.
position than it had been.
Yes.
Thank you. That was that.
Okay.
He's messing with you a little
Yeah.
bit. Yes.
Okay.
But he's also talking about doing that in a connection to Father's Day to sort of reinforce that. He says, you have mastered the art of self-deprecation. So he says that you're good at second-guessing yourself or sort of tearing yourself down. Thinking about what other people think of you.
Okay.
Do you understand? I'm going to ask family to chime in. Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay. And he says that you're due. Are you in a relationship currently?
No.
He says you're overdue for some romance also.
I'll take
He's
that.
pointing to He says you're overdue for some romance. He's talking about a relation. He's talking about the concept of psychological abuse. Do you understand that?
I do.
As it pertains to a previous relationship.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
He's talking about that, and he says, he calls you a survivor. You understand?
Yes.
And he's also talking about addiction connected to all of that as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I'm smelling alcohol, so I don't know if that was part of it.
Yes.
Thank you. So he says you are overdue for romantic happiness. He says, and that is coming. That is
Thank
coming.
you.
He's also talking about the possibility of a relocation down south for you as well. So I don't know if you have family or friends in Florida.
I do.
You do? There's a possibility that you may end up staying for longer periods of time or possibly relocating there. He says that he says you ought to see the singles scene for seniors down there. So he's making me feel like, you know, the joint's really jumping. Was he in combat actually?
He was in the Pacific arena in the Navy.
Do you know that he was in combat? He's saying yes. He's
Yes.
making me, thank you. He's making me feel as though he actually was in combat. And he says that affected him.
Greatly.
That really affected him. That he was different when he returned. Do you understand that?
I think I do.
Okay. He says that he says, you understand this because you're a survivor, but in order for me to survive and assimilate, he says, people don't understand. People who weren't there don't understand. He says, you know what that's like.
Okay.
He says, people who weren't there don't understand, and you have to close. He's actually showing me closing some doors in his heart. He says you actually have to turn off some valves or close some doors in order to survive. He says, we had no help. We had nothing. Okay.
Okay.
So he says basically it was up to me to figure it out. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Was he a carpenter or do woodworking?
He did. He was a machinist.
But did he have like a little shop
He
at
did.
home where he did some woodworking,
Yes.
wood turning actually?
Wood
He's
wood
showing me.
bench. Yes.
He says that was my therapy.
Okay.
That was my therapy.
Yes.
Because he's making me feel like he spent a lot of time doing that, or that was a great distraction for him. You understand?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. He's saluting again. I feel as though he's starting to pull back. Do you have questions about anything that I've said? He says I did a lot of acting.
He did acting.
No, he doesn't mean formally. He means in public,
To present
presenting
himself.
a facade that was other than how he was feeling inside.
Thank you.
Do you understand that?
I do.
So when he says a lot of people knew him, or he knew a lot of people, that was part of the acting.
Acting. Okay.
Make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. He wants you to be more authentic than he was in that respect.
Okay.
Okay? So he says, don't be afraid to illuminate the truth. Don't be afraid to illuminate the truth. He says, you have a story to tell it. Use it.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
do we have tissues handy?
You're welcome.
Does your mom pass on as well?
Yes, she
Because
has.
he was thanking you for looking after her.
She was before he passed.
It was something about her feet,
Her feet.
keeping her feet warm. Something about
She
cold,
liked to have her feet rubbed. Yes.
something about cold feet. Thank
Yes,
you.
she did.
Warming her feet. So
Yes.
he's thanking you for looking after her. Okay? And I feel as though he's pulling back. Do you have questions about anything that I've said?
No, but thank you.
Thank you.
For-
Thank you for being here. He says he pulled some strings and arranged it for you to be here. So I don't know if you didn't know about it or you knew about this secondhand.
This was very short notice, like 11 o'clock. I got my ticket
This morning?
last night.
Oh, interesting to me. Okay, so you weren't planning on being here for like weeks?
No.
Weeks ago. Okay, because he's saying, I pulled some strings to get you here.
Okay.
Very